Hello there, this is Sandy, Talk of Thailand. This is not going to be a very nice video to make actually, because it's concerning the terrible state of Thailand just now and the trouble that the country is in. Hello folks, this is Sandy from Talk of Thailand, and this video is about the concerns that we are now having here and all over Thailand about what's going on with the COVID pandemic. Up to now, over the last year, we've been very lucky, and the numbers in Thailand have been low, deaths have been low, but now it's changing rapidly. It's been changing now for about 2 or 3 weeks. Numbers have been going up fairly steadily, and now we're getting daily numbers of what we were seeing in Europe before. Well, not quite as bad as that, but we're getting over 1,000. Yesterday was 1,335 cases of COVID in the country. We had at least 30 odd here in Pattaya, about 100 cases in Chonburi as a total. That's including Sriracha and Chonburi. The worst places were Chiang Rai up that area. That was the worst area in Thailand. Bangkok was number 2. This is all severely rising in the numbers infected. It's also consequential that there's now 90 people on ventilators apparently, and there's 30 people in extremely serious conditions, and that's as of today. So what's gone wrong here in Thailand? Well, I think the Thai population is about 70 million actually, and to date, you know, they've carried out 500,000 vaccinations. That's not good. I think they sat back on the laurels here thinking that there was no real panic, and now they're panicking and they don't have answers to the problems that they've got, for sure. There's been a sketchy track and trace system set up here in Pattaya, where they're finding out where people have been and trying to trace where they went afterwards, and there's warnings coming out if people were in these certain places at these certain times, then they should let it be known, and you should probably go and get tested. So where's it all gone wrong? It's gone wrong because before it got so serious, the government had already made promises to everybody that this year they were going to have their Lunar New Year Songkran festival, which is a Thai New Year, and let everybody go home to see their relatives in their various provinces all over Thailand. Of course, if you've got nucleuses of people that have contracted COVID and they go out to their provinces, etc., for Songkran, then it goes without saying that this is going to spread more and more rapidly as we go on. But the government were caught between a rock and a hard place actually, because they'd made these promises and people had made all the arrangements, and then as late as a Friday of last week, when the holidays started, they were debating, can we stop this or not? And it was impossible to stop. People were going to go. A lot of Thai people have not been to see their families in 2 years, because last year they only get a chance once a year, and that's at Songkran. And last year Songkran was cancelled, and this is the next one, so it's 2 years. So a lot of people won't have been home for 2 years, and that's serious stuff. If you missed your family, and there's people who want to go see their mums and their dads, or aunts and uncles, sisters, brothers, grandchildren, newborn babies, etc., etc. It goes without saying, that's human nature. Thankfully it's human nature, and it's something we all like to do. I'm lucky that I've got my immediate family here, so thank God for that, or thank Buddha for that, or thank anything for that. I'm happy about that. But these people have gone home. They've now gone home, and they're busy spreading these infections at home. And then other people within the communities at home will be travelling back to different places maybe people that have gone from Bangkok have relatives working in Pattaya or Phuket or Hua Hin, or all these places are already dangerous. But they're going to go back, and it's all going to spread. Now, last Saturday, the government brought out some emergency regulations. The main one being that they were going to close bars, massage parlours, etc. And they brought out an initial period of 14 days. I don't suffer fools gladly, you know, but I see some very stupid people on YouTube, particularly people who live here in Pattaya and other big areas in Thailand that was favoured by tourists, Bangkok, Hua Hin, Chiang Rai, saying, oh, it'll all be over, it's only a 2-week thing and we'll go on from there. If anybody thinks that, then they need to rethink themselves again, because that is not going to happen. 2 weeks is going to be a minimum. I would say 2 months is looking even less possible, even more than that, I would say, but we will see as time goes on. But for sure, the minimal restrictions that they brought in on Saturday evening when they closed the bars and the other entertainment complexes, they're already beginning to escalate. They're talking about in Bangkok now, the restaurants are no longer allowed to sell alcohol, they can only sell food. That's going to come everywhere. It's got to come everywhere, because people, I even see people here in Pattaya, the restaurants are now, we've got quite a few people, and not eating, just drinking. And people even admitting it on the internet that that's where they're going. They're heading down there to get a couple of bottles of beer at the restaurant because they can't go to the bars. So all these restrictions are going to escalate when everybody returns back to the places of abode or the places of work next week after the end of Songkran. Now then, let's talk about Songkran for a minute. Songkran is officially the 13th of April, but if you take the Chonburi area, which is one of several that do the same, okay, 13th is the start of the celebrations. But then what happens is it goes into various areas within the community. So, for instance, here in Chonburi Patti area, they work their way up. It goes from Chonburi Sriracha on the 16th. It goes to another area in Naklua, 17th, or is it 18th? Pattaya has another celebration on the 19th, and it goes down to Rayong on the 20th. So it goes on for virtually a week, actually, once it starts. And these people are all celebrating, albeit this year, the same as last year, there'll be no water festivities out in the streets and people throwing water around and getting drunk and passing it all around. They're trying to make it much more back to the original, where people just go and see their families and do the Buddhist things at their families' residences. But what's going to happen? Well, Thailand are, as I said, between a rock and a hard place, because to control this, they've got to do the same as they're trying to do in Europe. They've got to start pumping up the amount of vaccinations that are going out. Now then, they're struggling to get them in here. As I say, there's 500,000 been vaccinated amongst from 70 million. That's not good. And they already admit that there's limited supplies coming in, and they're all looking forward to what they expect to start in June, when they start mass producing the AstraZeneca vaccine here in Thailand. And then that will be able to be shipped out bigger to the masses. I hope that works out. It's still a long time to wait between now and June. There's a lot of havoc to be created then. But it's even worse for people like me and other expats, because they say we will get our vaccines, but it's obviously going to be after the majority of the Thais have been vaccinated. And I can understand that. It's their country, and I can understand why we would go to the bottom of the list. But they have also said that the private hospitals can order vaccines and then sell them on to the expats that live here in Thailand. But how long is that going to take? There's not enough vaccines to go around the world, so there's private hospitals trying to buy vaccines. They're going to go to the bottom of the list from the suppliers. So it's going to take time for them to get the vaccines as well. Let's be realistic about it. They're not going to get theirs before the majority that are getting they're vaccinated here in Thailand. So it's a very serious situation, and if you're living in a safe area, for God's sake, don't come out of it. Stay there. I'm trying to keep my family isolated as much as I can here, and it's not that easy, but sticking by the regulations of washing hands, wearing masks, social distancing, etc. We're trying as best we can. We've got a small problem. It's easy for me and my wife, but it's a bit more difficult to keep the daughter in control. She's a little socialite and takes every opportunity to get as close to other people as she can. So that's a problem for us. And that same problem goes for most people in Thailand also. So the big thing is to stay safe, and let's try and limit this infections as much as we can, and particularly to our own people. I hear on the news today that already many businesses here in Pattaya, this third wave that hit us, they're throwing in the towel. They can't survive any longer. They've gone on for a year with next to no business, and the landlords are expecting their rents and their key monies and all the rest of it, and they just can't survive any longer, and so they're having to shut and give up and walk away from the businesses, and that's bad, and it's going to take a long time. I hear people, even in the newspapers, in the Thai government, the Ministry of Tourism, etc., saying they're still looking at getting a build-up of tourists in July. I don't know where these guys get it from, actually, because that's not going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. Who's going to be able to travel from any other country in July? The whole world's in a problem. Europe, UK, America, people are not going to be coming out to come to higher risk areas in July. I hear some more realistic things on the radio where people say it could be 2 years before tourism starts to return to Thailand. I think that's much more likely than sometime this year, that's for sure. So with those good, happy notes and my vision of the way it's going to go, which isn't good, I'm sorry it's not good, I'll leave it in your hands to think what you're going to do and what's the best for you and your families, etc. And stay safe and get vaccinated when you can. That's the big must. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.